at Stuttgart Regionals.
That's already a huge accomplishment to add, right? And I'm sure he'll be looking to do even better than that in this match. Now, of course, to do that, he will be having to go through his opponent, Simon here, who actually, this is his first big accomplishment.
First big accomplishment. I did look Simon up earlier to see if there were any accomplishments to share. I couldn't find anything, and that's kind of fun because it's a new player, a player we're not terribly familiar with. But then, you know, at the very least, Simon's going to be, oh, I know Simon. I saw him on stream at Top 8 of Stuttgart Regionals. And here we do see the decks. We've got Mew, we've got Miraidon. No huge surprises here in terms of the decks. These are decks with which we are quite familiar.
Yeah, very much so. Mew, it's very much a mainstay, especially at European tournaments, but it has been a deck that has never gone below at least, you know, tier 1 or tier 2 status. So constantly winning, constantly top-cutting events, and now another top 8 and potentially another win on the line here, but up against the somewhat new kid on the block in Miraidon, that, you know, the Miraidon Ascendant, as it were, starting off as a not as much of a top-tier archetype, but, you know, as it gains more and more pieces, getting to higher status until now, where it's one of the most played decks.
It's been really fun because, like I say, back at Worlds, it was one of those decks where, I mean, it was there. We'd seen Sejun Park go and win Korean Nationals with it. We saw Andrew Mahone having a good run with it at Worlds. It was absolutely there, but it was very much a fringe deck. It wasn't one of the top contenders. And then ever since Worlds, as we've been going through this new season, it just keeps getting more and more legit. You know, mid-Rhydon was a bit of a meme for a while.
It was.
People just not, you know, even going back to EUIC when it was first legal, we saw, was it a lovely, oh, I'm forgetting his name, very good friend of mine, made top 8 at EUIC with Miraidon. Rob Kimbram. There we go. Sorry, Rob, if you're watching. The lovely Rob Kimbram went and made top 8 with it. And all we were hearing was, you know, high rolled, hit really well off generators. People not taking the deck seriously. And I think as we've been going through the season, Freya, it's really quite clear it is legit.
Yeah. I mean, the deck has also changed a lot since then, right? When we even talked about this earlier, but when Rob was playing the deck, Miraidon's main way to be played was with the Regieleki VMAX, of course, that increased the damage of basic lightning-type Pokemon. But now people have shifted more towards playing it with Flaffy and then instead relying on the Raichu V to get those big one-hit knockouts instead.
Yeah, that's the way we go nowadays. It's fast, it's consistent, and, you know, recovering energy with Flaffy, bit more important than trying to boost your damage, because actually, most of the time, you're kind of doing enough. We do see Zapdos from Pokemon Go jumping in there, but that's because the difference between 220 and 230 is very relevant now, KOing stuff like Roaring Moon and Entei, for instance.
Yeah, absolutely. So both players are ready now to put out the prize cards. Let's see what both players won't have access to during this game. Oh, a couple of power tablets for Ethan. It's workable, but not great. So maybe, I guess against Miraidon, it doesn't matter as much, right? Because generally speaking, you only need one to maybe damage modifier to hit the numbers.
Unless we see a Bravery Charm come down.
Oh, okay, in which case, yeah, that could be quite relevant.
That's one of the things I'm looking for here. If Simon can start getting some Bravery Charms down, and there are 2 in the deck, this could be different, but we are off now. We've got a Squawkabilly against a Mew. Ethan draws for turn, and we are going in our top 8 with a Hisuian Heavy Ball. Yeah. There
is something very important to mention about Mew's deck, about Ethan's deck as we start. So we've talked a little bit before about how you kind of need to play the Fusion Strike energies nowadays to counter against Spiritomb. Ethan does not agree with us. This is actually a double turbo version of Mew.
Yeah, it's a full traditional double turbo version of Mew. This is not one of the matchups that's going to punish you for doing that, though.
No, absolutely not. I mean, Miraidon, there's, yeah, Path to the Peak. It doesn't matter whether you're playing double turbo Mew or Fusion Mew. Path to the Peak stops you anyway, so yeah.
And that's kind of nice. Like, if you can basically go, well, I'm not playing this, and then, well, the matchup isn't punishing you for not playing it, then you just get the benefit of all those cards you're playing instead. Cramomatic comes down. Oh. Fails, unfortunately.
Yeah, I wonder... Oh, wait, it's actually... I was going to say it's not quite big, but no, there's the Forest Sealstone in hand, so that's going to be absolutely fine there. If I were to guess, probably going to be for a Battle VIP pass. And
then probably for a pair of Genesect, because what you need now is drawing cards. There's already 2 Mew on the field. Your entire deck is, well, it's largely Mew, but there is actually something a little bit weird in Ethan's deck. There is a Luxray V. A single copy of Luxray V, 2 colorless energy, 30 damage, and your opponent reveals their hand, discard a trainer card. You find there, but it's going to be played with double turbo, so it's only actually going to do 10 damage.
And the idea here is, of course, that if you can like pluck out a key trainer from your opponent's hand, maybe you just stop them from playing the game outright.
Oh, absolutely. You think your opponent's got a bad hand, so you just go for it. And it does look like we've got a turn 1 Path to the Peak. We have seen what turn 1 Path to the Peak it does to Miraidon.
Yeah, especially with a hand like this as well, because Simon's hand looked not great, but at least he had the Squawk ability. But but there's the Beach Court ready in hand.
Okay, that's going to be absolutely big, because it's only really turn 1. After turn 1, Path to the Peak is nowhere near as good against Miraidon.
No, the idea is you want to put it down early, maybe stop them from setting up entirely, but as long as Simon can just find one Miraidon here, he's going to be good to go.
Yeah, because Miraidon, well, it gets you all of your lightning Pokemon. So you get your Miraidon getting all of that. Your Squawk ability you can only use turn 1, gets you a new hand. That is a ridiculous turn 1. If you turn that off, Squawk ability becomes useless because its ability, Squawk and Seize, only works on your first turn. Sure, you can start getting your basics as soon as you got access to abilities, but it's a lot less good after turn 1. It really is a turn 1. It's a one-turn thing where it's really super effective. Ethan did brilliantly playing it down, just didn't stick.
Yeah, no, also Simon countering the Path to the Peak with the Beach Court, and also has a Lost Vacuum as well to get rid of the Choice Belt. That could be relevant later on. It sort of stops Ethan from being able to sort of have that pre-ready damage modifier to KO Raikou V, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, Raikou has got quite low HP. That one is a bit easier to go down. You only need 10 extra damage, and, well, the Choice Bound will do it nicely. So we do see this judge coming down. Both players going to a new hand of 4. The thing is, Ethan's playing Mew. There's going to be some drawing going on with that Path to the Peak gone. We have seen that Mew decks can be really hurt when a Path to the Peak sticks in play too long, turning off that Fusion Strike system.
Yeah, though in this instance, obviously with the judge and with Simon countering the Path to the Peak, Ethan's going to have enough, a good amount of draw to like refill his hand. The only maybe problem being he was only able to get out 3 bench Pokemon during his first turn. So Fusion Strike system is currently only drawing up to 4 cards, not the usual like maximum of 6 that you really want to get going.
It's not perfect by any stretch, but hopefully you can get another Pokemon or 2, fill out your hand a little bit. You're right, it's not going to be the explosive drawing we've seen in the past, but it's quite easy to get yourself an extra Pokemon or 2, and then all of a sudden your Genesect get a lot more relevant. And you've, you know, out your hand, draw a couple cards. It's going to be all right. Now, we do see the start of the chain here. We got a Miraidon. Miraidon lets you search for 2 basic Lightning End Pokemon and bench them. What you can do, however, is what Simon is doing here. Make one of your choices Miraidon, and then do it again.
Yeah, that is absolutely. There's not a hard once per turn on that tandem unit ability. You can absolutely Miraidon for a Miraidon and then do the same again, and that is exactly what Simon is going to be wanting to do here. So got Mareep down for good measure. Of course, very important, as we saw earlier on, to get those out early so you can start doing the flappy Dynamotors and start really loading up your Pokemon with your spare energy. And it looks like it's going to be 2 Raikou with the second tandem unit.
Yeah, I like this. Raikou, of course, becomes much more effective when your opponent fills up their bench, and that is what Mew wants to do. Mew fills up their bench because, of course, their drawing, you know, the amount of cards they're drawing is dependent on how many Pokemon they have in play. And you can play with 4 or 5 Pokemon in Mew, but it's not as good. You don't draw as many cards. It's just not the done thing. So in a world where your opponent is going to have a full bench, yeah, that's not bad. And actually, those Raikou take down Genesect really quite easily.
They really do. And, oh, is that a Forest Sealstone?
It is a Forest Sealstone.
Forest Sealstone and Squawk and Seize for drawing 6 without discarding anything. That is happy days for Simon right there.
Yeah, now the question is, do you high-five if you Squawk and Seize with an empty hand?
I'm sure some people do, but not in this instance, clearly.
Now, we do see a Generator hit off that. That is obviously your early turn card you're always looking for in Miraidon. Look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Search for some energy. It's a whiff.
Oh, with so many energy left in the deck as well, that's a very unlikely miss there. Unfortunate for miss for Simon, for sure.
That is not ideal. I mean, you're not going to hit double energy off all of them. That is not expected, but you'll want to hit 1. Yeah. Now we see the V-Star power being used. That is the Forest Sealstone. Lets you search any card whatsoever. Do we go for another Generator here and chance it?
No, I think so, right? I think you just want to try, because this is the best point to use a Generator when your deck is loaded with energy. You haven't drawn through much of the deck, but you have thinned out some cards. So, yeah, the earlier you can use it, the better.
And that is exactly the choice that's come down here from Simon. Going after that electric Generator, really doesn't want another double whiff, because this is when Miraidon starts to go out of control, and not in a good way. If you start whiffing on your electric Generators, if you can't draw them, or you can't hit any energy off them, that is when the deck really starts to splutter.
And
no such problem here. Could have even had 3 if the card allowed it. It doesn't. No.
But yeah, that's more you want to see. So yeah, 2 energies. I think as long as one of the Generators hit 2 energies, I think Simon's going to be fine. So hitting 0 off the first one, not ideal, but 2 off the second one, good to go. That's
what I was saying. If you hit 1 off each Generator, generally that's going to give you enough to get rolling. So it's an average of 1, not too bad. Now the question is, where do they go? And I like this, straight onto the Raikou there. So if you've got any kind of pivoting option and there's no manual attachment been made yet, then you will be able to, attack of a Bravery Charm. And this is what we were saying. With 2 Power Tablet prize, that Bravery Charm gets so much more powerful.
Yeah, and of course, but I mean, it's another thing as well with Ethan going with Simon. Yeah, Ethan going first. Simon can actually just attack on the first turn. So you know, just attach there onto the bench Raikou. Then there's enough bench Pokemon to take care of this Mew. It only has 180 HP, so 5 on one side, 3 on the other is enough with the Lightning Rondo.
Absolutely. So there we go. We got the KO on the Mew, go up by 2 prizes. And this is the power of Miraidon here. Just these early game attacks. And yeah, you're going up 2 prizes before much has happened at all.
Very good draw there from Ethan, as it does draw the Mew VMAX for turn, finds a Box of Disaster and a Power Tablet, so already got one of the damage modifiers needed for the KO, and then just going to follow up straight away with a Judge. Yeah,
Judge is always a very nice one there to just, you know, basically hurt your opponent. I mean, we've seen Path Judge a lot. Path Judge is just mean. Give your opponent a low hand while turning off their abilities. But it's kind of weird. Both these players are kind of playing the disruption game. They're both playing Judge in their deck. They're both playing Path in their deck. They're both playing Iono in their deck. So they're both kind of almost copying each other's homework here.
Yeah, a little bit. I think the one thing that in Ethan's favor is that Ethan's playing a lot more sort of ways to get rid of his own path to the peak. So the idea being, you know, you have the abilities locked in your opponent's turn, but then on your own turn, you have the abilities back online. And, finds their second Power Tablet as well.
Okay, when there's 2 Power Tablet prize, finding both of the other ones, that is amazing. That's and didn't even use Forest Seal Stone, because use that back on turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. And
that's wonderful.
Yeah, interesting choice there from Ethan. Could have maybe gone for a Cramomatic, but decided no, I'd rather thin the rest of my hand out and just use this Ultra Ball to grab another Genesect. And this way, now you're drawing up to 5.
Yeah, I'm just double checking the maths on that. I believe it is exactly 250 on both sides. Mew's doing 250, Raikou's got 250. So I believe that means we are exactly at the number here with those 2, and it needed to be 2 Power Tablet. Of course, Choice Belt would have done it, but no such luck here. So yeah, this is a great start. And now we've got 5 Pokemon out. We're drawing with Fusion Strike system. I'm liking this, Freya.
And there's another Mew VMAX ready to go, and a Path to the Peak for good measure. So a absolutely phenomenal set of draws here from Ethan. He's finding exactly what he needs from these Fusion Strike systems.
Yeah, Path to the Peak is much less effective at this point in the game. It will turn off the fleet-footed on the bench Raikou, which is nice. But that is about it at this stage. I suppose you could go and get an extra lightning Pokemon with Miraidon, so you're certainly getting some utility out of it. It's not as good as it would have been turn 1 had it stuck, but it's still going to be quite nice to pop it down, hurt your opponent, because, I mean, what does Ethan really need now? Like, you know, keep drawing double turbo.
Yeah, I guess at this point it is true. Another Fusion Strike system after benching the Mew, finding even more sort of boss's orders from next turn could be really, really great. And actually, very importantly, the double turbo energy, so you can actually attack.
I mean, that always helps. Being able to attack is generally a good thing. So we do see that Path to the Peak coming down here. Now we see the KO. Just done enough. And look, Simon going for that Bravery Charm on the Raikou, getting a KO with that. That was absolutely the play. When you consider that 2 Power Tablet were prized, it was such a good play. It really was not likely Ethan was going to do it. What have you seen, Freya?
Okay, well, I was about to say, Simon's hand is terrible, but then he just draws the Professor's Research for the turn.
And there is an electric generator in there as well that we can go for. And actually, this is lovely, because you've got your Ultra Ball. Get rid of a couple of cards that, let's face it, you were just going to discard with a Professor's Research anyway. And then you get your Flaffy to accelerate some energy. You play your electric generator, crossing your fingers that, you know, that hits 1 or 2, and you've still got your attachment for the turn. And this is working very nicely. Should be able to fire off an attack with Raikou while powering up a Miraidon here. Although, honestly, I'm looking for a Raichu to get a giant one-hit KO, or I'm looking for a poke followed up by an Iron Hand, which would actually close out the game.
Yeah, there's a couple of different ways that Simon can go about it here, and this is like the risk that you run into, right? When you're up against a strategy that has a way of taking extra prize cards and you're a free prize Pokemon, if you can either just by getting knocked out by Raichu, or by doing the soften up of play with the Raikou to then follow up with Iron Hands, yeah, it's very, even Even's in a good position, but it's still very potentially scary for him. Simon is not out of this game by any means.
Even an escape rope would actually be really nice here, because there's nothing on the bench. That Mew VMAX didn't get evolved, so it's all just Mew and Genesect on the bench. So actually, even an escape rope here would allow a KO from Simon, and there's a couple different ways to go. What you don't want to do is just two-hit KO the Mew for free prizes.
No.
It's either hit the Mew and finish with Iron Hands, or it is, you know, get a big giant one-hit KO with Raichu, or it is play something like an escape rope to try and go after the bench.
So looking at the hand currently, I actually don't know if there's a way to do it. There's some good draws there. I found the Raichu, which is absolutely great. Found the Lightning Energy, but I don't think there's enough to actually power up an attack.
Oh, well, there's a Raikou in the active with an energy, and you've got the attachment for turn.
Okay, yeah, that's true. So, yeah, but instead, Simon, maybe think about powering up the Miraidon. You do have Dynamo to still. You
do. You've got the Flappy, can accelerate the energy, so that will absolutely work. So there's no issue here about getting the attack off with Miraidon. You are going to have to attack into the Mew. And look, if you're far enough ahead, it's fine to just two-hit KO the Mew, but the problem is you're going to two-hit KO the Mew and then have to take out a two-prizer on the bench as well. It's just, you know, it's basically a free-turn win rather than a two-turn win, which could happen if you could attack the bench or if you could get an Iron Hands next turn.
Yeah. Now, actually, Simon opting to bench the Raichu, so they're leaving that bench slot occupied. So no way to put down an Iron Hands anymore, but maybe Simon valuing just being able to make sure that Raichu is an option in case you can't find the Iron Hands, and if the Miraidon gets knocked out, of course, then the bench slot will free up for the Iron Hands that way. Ethan has another double turbo and another Mew VMAX. Gonna definitely want to be attacking with that bench one to kind of deny the easy KO option from Simon there, force the boss's orders out of him. And it's just is it just gonna be power tablet, retreat, and attack, maybe?
It may well be. There's just not the resources for Ethan to, you know, your choice belt doesn't work on a Pokemon EX. You've only got access to one power tablet in the deck. So because of the reduction, no, it actually works out perfectly. It's 220.
Yeah, absolutely. 190 after the double turbo. Yeah, 220. Only one power tablet needed. So yeah, 2 more prizes from Ethan. Finds actually that power tablet that he used was one of the first 2 prizes he took. So very important he took that. And he just took the other one now. So Ethan has enough resources to get the last 2 prize KO to win. So now it's up to Simon. Can he find the means to go Iron Hands, boss's orders on this Mew, and take the 4 prizes in one go?
And it has to be. Were you able to get a big Raichu KO last turn or an escape rope to KO one of the smaller bench Pokemon, then all you would need here is, you know, just it would have been easy. You could have bossed, you could have Raichu, there was a bunch of options. Here, you're in a really awkward situation. If you don't win the game this turn, Ethan, I mean, there's a lot of those Pokemon that are quite easy to KO. It's kind of like one power tablet will get you the Raichu. You don't even need a power tablet to take out the Squawkabilly. So, yeah, there's quite a lot of options here, unfortunately, for Ethan to win next turn. So Simon, but trying to get Iron Hands on that bench Mew is going to be a lot of work. Yeah, so not being able to sort of kind of have the Iron Hands ready in reserve and sort of preset it up and simultaneously missing the KO was absolutely huge for Simon there. So it was a good draw off the research, but not quite enough. And now Simon is going to try and piece together this combo, but it does give Ethan a window of opportunity to take this game away if he can just get the last KO before Simon can set up this Iron Hands. Absolutely. We do see the Iron Hands being searched out here. It is Simon's only chance of winning this turn. So, and it's a lot to ask for. You've got your Dynamotor, but you then need 3 other energy in addition to the Dynamotor. Yeah, and also bear in mind that Simon could have saved that double turbo energy and attached it to the Iron Hands to make it easier, but actually opted to discard it off the Ultra Ball instead. That is, I mean, there's only so many resources you've got. You're absolutely right when you say that, but sometimes it's just, there are other cards you end up needing a little bit more. So we need a Dynamotor, and then it's either attach a double turbo, hit 1 electric generator, or attach a lightning energy, hit 2 energy off electric generator. The problem is you would also need a boss, and we've just played Judge. Yeah, so this has to be a 2-turn thing, right, which does leave the window of opportunity open for Ethan. If he can just find a boss's orders, then that'll be enough to win the game. It doesn't even need any damage modifiers because that Squawkabilly is right there ready on the bench to be knocked out. Yeah, and of course, one of the things about Iron Hands is it does have that 230, the number which is becoming more and more relevant in the game right now, which means that you can't just KO it with a power tablet. So Ethan just drew Escape Rope and Power Tablet. So if Simon goes for a play the same way, just retreats into the Flaffy, then Ethan can just play Escape Rope and it will force Simon to bring up the Iron Hands because that'll be the only thing out of range. It will indeed. The Iron Hand can take a hit with a single power tablet, and we've seen free power tablet be played, and Choice Bout doesn't affect Iron Hands. So we do know that Mew is essentially really tapping out at 220 damage here.
Yeah.
So the Iron Hands will survive, but then you've got a 10 HP Pokemon surviving. This is not an ideal situation any way around. The problem is, if you put Iron Hands active, I suppose it's, just chooses to pass, and we know...
Well, attack.
Well, okay, so...
Yeah. But that means the game's over.
Yeah.
Even just retreats and plays a power tablet and just does a cross-region strike, and that will be going to game 2.
That is unfortunately it. When I say pass, I meant essentially end the turn without winning, which is essentially the same thing. We do see a Cramomatic.
That wasn't a power tablet. I was mistaken. Sorry. Yeah, I thought I saw a power tablet, but no, that was in the previous hand.
Yeah, there was a judge coming down.
It's there.
Another Cramomatic is being flipped here, and that's another Tails.
No, the power tablet's there. I was right. You just play it and retreat and win, right? Am I missing something?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, there it is.
Power tablet, retreat and win, and Ethan will take this 1-0. We are going to game 2.
There
and
she is.
There's the reaction from Amy. Hi, Amy.
Hi. Oh, that's wonderful.
That was a good thing to see, Amy. Obviously, delighted to see Ethan taking that first game. And yeah, not 100% sure what was going on with those Cramomatic there, but it did not matter. Just that power tablet was enough. And Ethan, that was a very tight game, because we had the 2 power tablet prized. Every one of those 4 power tablet was incredibly important there. Like, every KO needed the power tablet, and if Ethan had had 1 fewer power tablet on any turn, that would not have worked.
Yeah, the power tablets are absolutely key there, so finding each one at the right time. And with the Cramomatics, I mean, it could just easily be nerves, right? Sometimes you're looking for like the more complicated win condition because you think you're in a bad spot, and you don't realize you have the simple one right in front of you. That just, I played a power tablet, I retreat, I attack. You know, I've done it before. I'm sure you probably have as well.
I get super paranoid when I'm about to win a big game. I'm like, no, this can't be all of it. Can't just be 1 card to win.
Surely it can't be this easy.
No. Let's play a few. Let's really tighten up this win. And my opponent's just like, you had that the whole time. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, and for your opponent, right, it's something you feel really bad because you think, were you just like, were you just slow rolling it? But then sometimes it's just generally, I did not realize I had this. Yeah.
Want to make sure you get the win. This is a high pressure situation. This is top 8 of a regional. There's almost 1,000 masters playing in this regional, and this top 8 game is very, very big. So we've got Ethan playing Mew, one game up to 0 against Simon with that Miraidon deck, and we kind of saw what was going on. Simon had chances, but that first game was a case of Ethan just having what he needed to get those KOs, while Simon didn't have quite enough of the big Raichu KO, wasn't able to get the Iron Hand established, just a little bit short.
Yeah, just a little bit short, and that really was the key turn, right? The turn where it was just softening up with the Raichu rather than, getting a big KO with the Raichu or, setting up something with the Iron Hand. It just wasn't quite enough to get Simon over the finish line, and Ethan just had the tablets every single time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Oftentimes you're going to play against Mew and you're going to be like, they had everything they needed. Like, yeah, have you seen how many cards they draw? Well, we know there was a path to the peak in play for a lot that last game, so that does change it quite a bit. But this is one of the reasons why Mew is such a good archetype. You've got Genesec's Fusion Strike system. It draws a redonkulous amount of cards. And it means that a lot of the time, yeah, you know what? Mew does just have what it needs, because it just draws more than any deck other than maybe Gardevoir.
Yeah, and another mulligan here from Simon. You do not want to be giving Mew mulligan cards, not by any stretch.
No, that's at least 2 mulligans now. You can see you can't. We can see the die sitting on top of Ethan's deck there. There's a 2 on it at the moment every time. And we changed the mulligan rules a few years ago. Essentially, when your opponent has a basic Pokemon, you look at how many mulligans they've taken, you declare how many cards you're going to take, and then take that number. You used to be able to take them 1 by 1, and then essentially stop when you've taken enough. Now you have to declare before you start drawing.
Oh, when you say recently, how recently did that change?
It feels recently, but I also feel young, so I don't know. It's probably a while ago at this stage.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't remember that change being that recent, I think.
Us
showing our age clearly. So anyways, here we are going into game 2. Simon will be going first. Looks like wanting to find that turn 1 path to the peak to stop Ethan's setup without a doubt. Start over fleet-footed, and oh no, that is, I mean, if you're going second, that hand is fine, but going first, like, that's, what do you even do?
I mean, next turn, you Professor's Research.
Yeah, but...
Oh, no, there's 2 Electric Generator in hand and no bench Pokemon.
Yeah, even if you do research, that is a horrible Professor's Research. Just got 2 more researches and the 2 generators.
You need Electric Generator to get your energy out, but Electric Generator will only attach to the bench Pokemon, so Simon is crossing his fingers hard that he draws a basic next turn. Any basic will do just to try and get that energy on the board.
Yeah.
Over to Ethan, and we've actually lost a power tablet turn 1. There's none prize this turn, or this game, I should say. But remember, every one of those 4 power tablet came in really handy in game 1. So it's one of the key cards we're tracking in this matchup. It's something we need to bear in mind moving forward.
Yeah, now, saving grace here for Ethan is that, well, actually, let's say saving grace for... No, it's like saving grace, but isn't even the right word. Ethan has a very, very good setup going right. He got the Ultra Ball ready and going to fire off that Forest Fuel Stone and already coming in with the Battle VIP pass off of that. Ethan is, once again, having a great turn 1 setup. No, I remember what I was going to say now. The saving grace for Simon is that because Ethan is playing this version, not the Fusion Strike version, there's no risk of a turn 1 knockout of a Meloetta.
No, not at all. This version of Mew needs a turn to get rolling. Turn 1, you get your Genesect down, you get your Mew down, draw a bunch of cards, maybe attach your Double Turbo, and then it's turn 2 where you evolve up into the Mew VMAX and start launching attacks. It has no turn 1 pressure. Technically, you could attack with Luxray turn 1.
I guess you could, yeah. And maybe that's something that Ethan could even consider, thinking, oh, hold on, maybe Simon's hand isn't great, but it has a good trainer for turn 2. But with the commitment of the Double Turbo to the Mew, not going to be happening.
No, this is really one of those situations where, you know, you put your opponent, you know, maybe you Iono down to 1, and then you can go and use Luxray to, you know, get the only card in the hand.
Yeah, and to tell you what, Ethan is thinking about that later on because he has gone and decided to bench that Luxray. Now, it is a very, very useful attacker for exactly that kind of disruption, but that does mean that Ethan will be locked to drawing up to 5 a Fusion Strike system every turn instead of 6.
Yeah, Luxray is a fast Pokemon, but it is not a Fusion Strike Pokemon, so that is going to hurt the draws as we go through. What was the top deck?
It was a Judge.
You have to judge.
Yeah, you have to. Like,
you have to judge.
That is a massive bailout there because, yeah, you don't draw that many cards, but you cannot afford to lose this many resources by researching.
No, it's the Electric Generator. When you've got no Flaffy down, and we do see a fleet-footed into a 3rd Electric Generator. Okay. You definitely judge here. Yeah.
If you
cannot.
No, there's no way. Don't do it, Simon. Don't do it.
No, there's no discussion here, Freya. There's no discussion. You have to judge. You cannot lose 3 of your 4 Electric Generator turn 1 when you're already down a game. Maybe you can chance it if you're even on game, you know, if it's game 1. I still wouldn't. No. But no way you can do that when you lost game 1. That is, oh, that is not a good situation.
Honestly, if that were me, I'd be half tempted to show my opponent my hand before shuffling it away. So, like, yeah, there's no way I'm researching all of this.
No, you absolutely, and thank goodness that Judge was drawn. Yeah. I mean, imagine, because you have to, if there's no Judge there, you have to Professor's Research. You have to get rid of your other 2 research. You have to get rid of your 3 Electric Generator. That is not good.
No, not at all. Now, it does mean that these 4 cards from Judge are going to be very, very important, especially because there's no option for Squawkabilly to dig further, right? It's going to be, like, Simon needs to find a Miraidon here, basically.
Yep.
And, oh, there it is.
Okay, that's good. Miraidon basically fills your bench, so you're good. You can have as many Lightning Pokemon as you like here, so that's going to be quite nice. And actually, if you go for a second Miraidon and bench the, you bench the Raichu, you will have a full bench. But is there even an energy to launch an attack?
No, there isn't. That's the thing. Like, the Miraidon's a great find, but there's nothing else to follow up with. There's a boss's orders. There's also no draw power for next turn. So Simon's really riding on the top of his deck here. I mean, thinning out with the Miraidon now will help a lot, and I imagine he's going to do the chain of one Miraidon into the other to kind of make those odds more likely. But yeah, it could get very rough very quickly.
Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is, like, if you had an energy, you'd actually have the KO on Genesect, because you'd be hitting 220. Yeah. It would be really quite nice. You don't have any energy here. Yeah,
and that's so unlikely as well, the amount of energy that you play. So actually, it's a bit of a rough one from Simon, finding, you know, some good cards, but yeah, missing the energy is a big miss.
That's a big thing for me here, missing that energy. If you had the energy, I think you're looking pretty good at this stage. And we do see Simon kind of almost reacting to that, going double Mareep. A lot of the time, we'll see a single Mareep as a little bit of a top-up. This is almost Simon's way of just saying, I'm behind in this game. I need some explosive turns, and double Flaffy will do it.
Well, there is still a chance to dig for a knockout here, because there's a switch in Simon's hand. So you could switch, and then fleet-footed maybe hope to find an energy, and then you can still get the KO.
And then, of course, yeah, because Beach Court would allow you to retreat after the switch. So, okay, Yeah, and to be honest, there's a lot of energy in the deck.
Yeah, exactly. So
there's 13 energy in the deck. Bring it down to, well, there's 2 prize, 1 on the active. So there's 10 energy in that deck right now.
Yeah, it's 100% worth going for. So it's, unless Simon disagrees, I mean, I know it's small marginal, but I mean, it's the difference between taking 2 prizes and not, right? So, well, I guess you could do it this way around. So yeah, retreat first, and then fleet-footed. Do you find an energy?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a vacuum.
Oh, I made my call. I called it wrong. That is not what you want to see. Simon is not having the luck of the draw in this game. So it is just going to be a pass here. Not an exciting pass. It's just going to be a regular, ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill pass. And this is not what you're looking for. And next turn, Ethan's going to start firing off some attacks.
Yeah, and he's actually debating the switch now because he's thinking, hold on, if I can't take a knockout this turn, I want to at least make it harder for my opponent to do so. So if I switch back into this Raikou with the Bravery Charm, yeah, I'm burning a switch, but it means that I'm forcing my opponent to work harder for the 2 prizes.
Yeah, it forces a double... No, just into a Murray. I actually really like this.
Yeah, this is actually better.
It kind of ruins your opponent's prize map a bit. It means that in order to win the game, they've either still got to KO free 2 prizes, or at some point they've got to gust up your Flaffies. There's another reason to go for the double Mareep that we saw a moment ago, and now we see the Genesect starting to draw with a box of disaster attached.
Yeah, it's actually really, really good stuff. Oh, there's a grabber, so not a card we've seen very frequently, but yeah, going to be able to put that Raichu back to the bottom of the deck.
Yeah, and of course, let's not forget that if you use Grabber, that can give away that your opponent only has 1 good trainer card, and then in comes Luxray.
Absolutely. Now, 2 Fusion Strike systems used, and Ethan also not finding some great cards, although there's a Cramomatic scanning Battle VIP. Is this going to be a heads? No, it's a tails.
Ethan's not having luck on Cramomatic this match at all. It's not going well for him.
No, not at all. Oh, another Forest Sealstone, another Mew VMAX. That's, yeah, you need a way to get this Genesect out of the active. That's the big problem you have right now. You can, yeah, get some more cards out of the hand. You can evolve the other Mew. At this point, do you maybe path to the peak? It seems a little bit... It stops the beach court, right? And at this point, you also don't need to draw anymore with a Genesect, so you could have played it down, but like Ethan thinking, no, I would rather just judge my opponent right now and try and find a switch out.
Yeah, I don't mind this play at all. You've judged your opponent, put him down to a 4-card hand. You're really just digging for that switch. I do see the merit in playing Path to the Peak, but then by the same token, Ethan doesn't have everything he needs right now.
No.
And if you put a Path down, turn off your Genesect, and then you get a random 4 cards off Judge, if they turn out to be not great cards, you can actually hurt yourself, and you're 1 game 1. You don't need to be quite so aggressive in your plays. You can play a little bit safer here because you know you've got another game coming later.
Oh, there's another grabber as well, so you'll be able to put that Mew away.
Oh, Mew's going to go down, and it's not a great... What was the last card in Simon's hand? It's a Forest Seal Stone.
Okay.
Oh,
that's live.
This is a situation where I want a Luxray.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
You don't have the resources.
No, but that absolutely would have been the best move to make if he could have done that. But now instead, Simon actually drawing pretty well off that Judge. Has a electric generator ready to go and finds 2 energy as well.
Oh, this could be a turnaround for Simon here. You've got that Forest Seal Stone that can get you any cards you want. You've got 2 energy off the electric generator. And that Luxray would have been so good getting rid of that Forest Seal Stone going, well, you've got your generator, but you've got nothing else here. Yeah. We do see it going 1 onto the Raikou there and 1 onto the other Raikou, as it turns out.
And then, yeah, Forest Seal Stone, you can just put that on the Raikou, which doesn't have the Bravery Charm on it, and you don't need to use it straight away, right? You could just... Oh,
no, onto the Miraidon.
Oh, okay, changing your mind. I guess you already have 1 Raikou powered up, so yeah, kind of diversify your range of viable attackers. It makes a lot of sense. Forest Seal Stone going on, and yeah, just the research.
Yeah, there we go. We're going to research for 7 cards here, so that's going to give you a nice big new hand, and that is quite nice. What have we got? We've got energy. Is that a Bravery Charm? We've got a Flaffy there as well to evolve up. There's some good stuff in this hand.
Yeah, and also, don't forget, the Beach Court's still in play, so this Mareep in the active actually just retreats for free, so Simon's got the attack this turn.
Yeah, he does. This is a big turnaround. Going into last turn, going into Ethan's last turn, it really seemed like Ethan was in a commanding position, but not being able to fire off an attack, and then Simon having this monster turn. You do not expect this to happen when you judge your opponent.
No, you really don't. So Simon's got to be absolutely thrilled at this turn of events currently. So Raikou goes into the active, and this will be a knockout in Genesect, and Simon will finally take the first 2 prizes of this game.
Yeah, and we did see them take the first 2 prizes of the last game, and it didn't make much difference in the end. But certainly, you take your first 2 prizes, you get the initiative. And also, Box of Disaster is going to drop some damage counters, of course.
That is true.
But it's kind of interesting. Ethan's now got 2 Genesect. You're only drawing until you got 4 cards in hand. The draw is being hurt a little bit here as it stands.
There is not a Mew in hand, so you could bench that and draw up to 5 again, but quite nice that actually Ethan doesn't have to burn his power tablet now. The Box of Disaster has put in a lot of work, so you can now just like save that for later.
Yeah, that's quite nice, and that's another way around kind of not having those power tablets, because this means that the Raikou is going to be absolutely in range here. So the KO is easy. I mean, the KO is already on board, frankly. The KO is not a question. The question is, what can Ethan do to set up for the next turn?
It's going to be some kind of disruption supporter is going to be ideal, I think, because obviously Simon's hand is quite big right now. You want to be able to prevent a return knockout. That's going to be the big thing that Ethan's going to want to avoid, because if you can make it so that your opponent is forced to 2-shot a Mew, that's how Ethan gets back into this game, but just by taking a 2-2-2 prize map.
Yeah, there's a bunch of different... I mean, we said it out last turn. You can use... Well, you can't use Escape Rope anymore because there's another Mew Max on the bench. But you can go after your opponent's bench with stuff like Boss's Orders or a free in Simon's deck. Or you can go for the 2-hit KO, but you're using Iron Hand, which is not on the board right now. Or you can just go for the big Raichu KO. But you've got to remember, if you're doing that, it takes a lot of energy to actually pull that off. And you need to make sure you've actually got the resources to do so. If you're going to go for that, you kind of need Zapdos on the board, because Mew's got 310. Bringing it down to 300 makes the maths much easier with Raichu. Yeah,
it really does. But the problem is your bench is a bit clogged, right? You can't bench the Raichu and the Zapdos here.
And not. No, I was going to mention that. So... Yeah, you can't be just 2-hit KOing the Mew for 3 prizes, not with the prize map the way it's going, not after what we saw in the first game.
No, exactly. You can, sure, like set up a 2-hit knockout with the Iron Hands to sort of take it, but we saw that it just adds so much more difficulty to your plays, right? Because you need to get so much energy on it. Granted, there's 2 Flaffies coming to play now, so pulling off an attack with the Iron Hands, in theory, should be a lot easier this game.
I mean, you can double Dynamotor and attach your double Turbo Energy, and that's going to work out quite nicely, frankly. I mean, it does mean that, you know, the double turbo brings you down to only doing 100, but as long as you can do 210 to the Mew first, and you should be doing 220 to the Mew, you're going to be okay. The maths is going to work out there. And yeah, I mean, you just need to be setting up for a play like that. Of course, Ethan's got 2 Mew V Max. Simon is going to have to gust to pull that play off. There's no way Ethan is just going to leave the Mew in the active heavily damaged.
Yeah, and without doubt as well, Ethan will disrupt Simon's hand before taking a knockout to make that gusting even less likely as well.
Absolutely, he probably is. He's got an Iono in the deck. He's got free Judge in the deck. So, yeah, hand disruption with Mew. It's weird that, you know, everything that used to be a Mew counter is now a Mew staple. Path to the peak, hand disruption. We used to play these to try and beat Mew, and now Mew's like, oh, good idea. Yeah. I'll do that.
Yeah. Oh, now very, very important thing to note here, Simon is finally opted to use that Star Alchemy on the Forest Steel Stone, and actually is going to get the boss's orders.
Love this, like this. What I really like about this, he's combining it with benching a Raichu. So what you essentially do is you boss something off of the bench, KO with the Miraidon, but then it doesn't matter what's active next turn because Raichu can go smash. And of course, if Ethan takes a KO, that will open up a bench space for the Zapdos, which isn't prized. And that means that 5 energy getting discarded will mean a 1-hit KO with Raichu. So that's the kind of thing that I'm looking for here.
So it means you don't need to set up a 9-hand. You can just load up a Raichu and a bunch of energy on the field and take the win that way. Absolutely. Very, very good stuff. So now it's just a matter of what the boss's orders, and even Simon just going for a Genesect here, wanting to make sure that Ethan has as little access to draw as possible, and given that one Genesect's already been KO'd and there's no way to get them back, Ethan's now going to be limited to only 2 Fusion Strike systems per turn.
Yep, and we have actually got the Zapdos in hand for what it's worth if we're going the Raichu route next turn. And the Bravery Charm is on the Miraidon, because this is something that is absolutely on my radar here. If this Miraidon can survive this turn, then we're actually going to see that there's already enough energy for Raichu, but also the Miraidon can just gust and KO something else. So this Miraidon with a Bravery Charm, if it can survive this turn, will essentially lock the game up for Simon. It becomes a very, very good odds of winning at that point. But it's all over to Ethan. We're going to get this KO.
Wait, he just Ultra Balled away to Zapdos.
I mean, if he's going to get enough energy with a Raichu, it's fine. Essentially, the Zapdos acts as another energy.
Yeah, yeah, I guess it's true, yeah.
Raichu works in multiples of 60. Mew has 310. So if you don't have the Zapdos, you need to discard 6 energy for Dynamic Spark for the KO. With the Zapdos, it brings it down to 5 energy, and then Zapdos will do that extra 10.
Yeah, it's a bit awkward, right? Because it means that now you're relying on a generator. If this Miraidon gets KO'd, there'll be 2 energy on the field from the Raikou, and then you can do double Dynamotor, and you can attach 1 from hand, and that would be 5. But then if you're doing it this way around, you have to get that 6 energy, which means that you need a little bit of an extra push.
Or you just boss's order something on the bench, and then it's easy. So there are a bunch of options around for Simon to get these last 2 prizes. There we see the first one. Are we going to see... I think, do we need 3 here?
It's... Well, no.
Oh, no, we don't, because we've got a lost vacuum. We need 1. We've got 1. Ethan's got the KO here, and we're going to be right back. Oh, and a judge as well. I mean, you said this yourself, Freya. Yeah. Ethan is going to disrupt the hand before he takes the KO. Now,
judge is... it's a bit unfortunate, because that's... an Iona would have been a lot better there. You know, giving your opponent 4 gives them a few more likely outs to hit it, but unfortunately, no access to Iona, so was forced to judge instead. It's still... It's better than what, you know, doing no disruption at all, but... Ethan is really going to be crossing his fingers that Simon does not have an out to win.
I also kind of want to get a path to the peak if I'm Ethan here.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because, I mean, firstly, it's nice to turn off abilities, but with Beach Court in play, you do actually get an extra card because you just put the Raikou active. Regardless of whether you want to attack with it or not, you draw with Fleet-Footed and you've got the guaranteed retreat.
Right. Oh, look at that
energy path to the peak. It's not ideal.
It's not, and even now looking at it, oh, look at Amy's reaction.
Oh, loving that we got the Amy cam for this game. So, I mean, the KO for Ethan isn't the issue here. It is what's going to happen next turn. And it literally is. I mean, it's, you know, to use a football expression, we're in Europe after all, next goal wins. Next KO is going to end up winning this match. And Ethan doesn't really need anything. What have you seen?
Big Chromatic here. That is a heads.
Oh, that is a heads. I mean, path to the peak would be fun here, just to try and just shut. And now, did Ethan play the grabber?
Yeah.
So he knows how terrible Simon's hand is.
Yeah, exactly.
So now...
so yeah, there's no reason to grab the path to the peak.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still you're still cutting off the draw from the Raikou here, which is what I'm particularly liking. But
and also, you don't want to give your opponent the flexibility of the Beach Court unless there's already a path in Ethan's hand. Maybe maybe we could have missed.
I couldn't tell you off the top of my head here.
No.
What did he get off the Chromatic? I didn't see.
It was the boss's orders.
I mean, I like that as well, because then you got the kind of guaranteed win next turn. So, Simon's on a 1-turn clock. It's simple as that. Either Simon gets a KO this turn, or he loses.
Big draw, and it's an electric generator. That could also do the trick.
No, it couldn't. You can only get to 5 energy, even if you hit 2 energy off the generator.
No, we have 2 Dynamotors.
Oh, and the Dynamo. Oh, you got loads of energy. Flaffy's good at getting energy, right?
Yeah, but this goes back to what I was saying before. Without the Zapdos, you need 1 of this generator, because there's an energy in hand, so you go double Dynamotor, attach from hand. If you hit 1 energy off this generator, you win the game.
Yeah, that should be quite nice. Of course, you need to get 2 energy onto the Raichu, but that's going to be easy with your Flaffy being able to accelerate it.
Yeah. And if Simon hadn't have discarded the Zapdos, he'd actually have the win right now. He just with the tandem unit.
Yeah, the tandem unit just goes and gets the Zapdos. You got 2 energy out, 2 with a Dynamotor, attach for turn, and then you can just retreat and do 310 exactly with Raichu there.
I think, if I was seeing Simon's deck correctly, there's 2 lightning energies left in the deck. And that deck is not looking massively thin.
No, at the moment, it looks like we can do 300 damage. There are 2 on the Raikou, 2 energy, 2 from the Dynamotor, 1 attach from hand. That's 5 energy. It's actually kind of annoying he drew so much energy, because if you draw the energy and it's in your hand, it's not in your deck available to use with the electric generator.
It was a very unfortunate turn of events to Simon. Exactly not what he would have wanted to see in any situation. So it all comes down to this now. Electric generator. Can Simon find 1 energy to close out this game and take us to a game 3?
Not
3.
Yet.
5, there it is!
Double energy off the electric generator. Did not see that coming. And we see the thumbs up from Ethan. Yeah, okay, fine. You've got enough energy. Let's go over the game 3. Who needs Zapdos, eh? Who needs Zapdos?
Wow, and Simon, you can see from the look on Simon's face, he knows that was absolutely by the edge of the seat there. Wow, what an incredible finish. And we're going to a game 3.
Oh, I want a game 3 here, Freya. I want a game 3. Game 1 and game 2 were fun. I'm well up for a game 3 for this one. This is, I mean, community vote. Thank you. You've done us a solid here. You know, we're at your mercy. You're telling us which game we get to commentate here, and you've gone and picked the right one. The lovely crew picked us the right set. It's December. It's the festive season. We get the winter set. That's a win. And now we get a great top 8. That's a win as well. So, I mean, this is my favorite kind of best of 3, Freya. We've already seen Ethan win a game, and we've seen Ethan's plan. This is how Ethan wins. And then in game 2, we saw Simon win a game, and this is how Simon wins. We didn't see these weird, cheeky wins. We've seen one example of each deck doing what each deck does. So now we get to go to game 3 and see which can, you know, do their plan the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, of course, Ethan will be going first again. And what I'd be curious to see is, can Ethan get a turn 1 path that sticks?
I mean, that would be huge. Turning off the Squawkabilly, turning off the Miraidon ability, you know, both of those turn 1 absolutely would be big. So, yeah, that, you know, turn 1 path to the peak, getting set up, that is huge. Simon's taken the first KO both games, even game 2 where it was not looking great. And that's the thing, Simon did not have the best luck in game 2, and yet still managed to pull it off. Yeah,
and a really impressive recovery as well. Even perhaps making it a little bit more, harder for himself and having the unfortunate draws with the judge at the end, drawing a bunch of energy, but still finding 2 off the electric generator.
That was nice. Oh, we got a reversal from game 2. It's Ethan who is mulliganing now.
Oh, okay.
So he is going to be giving Simon an extra card here. At least 1 extra card. Assuming Simon wants to take it and it's turn 1, you want to get set up. Yeah, taking the extra card.
An interesting decision here though, between, so you can either start with the Raikou or with the Raichu. I mean, Raikou obviously gives you the extra draw, the fleet-footed, but no, looks like an opt to start with the Raichu here.
I want to put the Raikou down. Oh, no, we did put the Raichu down. I like the Raikou personally. I like the fleet-footed. And also, we've seen in the past 2 games, Simon loves attacking with the Raikou in the early game. Because Ethan is basically forced to fill up his bench by the nature of the deck that he's playing, that means you fill up your bench, you do 220, and all of those lovely Pokemon, you know, V go down. Yeah,
quite an interesting heads-up thing here. Normally, we don't see players going second, putting down an extra Pokemon, you know, before the setup. But of course, Simon, knowing that Ethan plays Grabber, doesn't want one of the Pokemon to be grabbered away, so actually just puts it down to keep it safe.
Yeah, I love that. Nice heads-up play. There is a combination here of kind of playing Grabber and playing Path to the Peak and really locking Simon out of the game from the very beginning. So yeah, this is one of those situations where you kind of have to. You can't play a supporter turn 1. Usually your hand is safe. Not here.
No, absolutely not. So another mulligan, incidentally, from Ethan. So more resources for Simon. And of course, going first, there's no way to disrupt your opponent's hand other than Grabber, right? So it's going to be a little bit unfortunate for Ethan, because it means that Simon's going to have more outs to find a potential counter to a Path to the Peak.
Yeah, no, it absolutely is. So,
and then again,
another mulligan. That's 3 mulligans so far. I mean,
this is not what you want.
I mean, if Simon wants an answer to the Path to the Peak, he's got 3 extra cards to do it.
Okay, to be fair, there's a beach court already in hand.
Okay, but he's still got 3 extra cards to do it. But you're right, he does already have a beach call. That's going to help. That's honestly going to help. Yeah. But of course, you know, Ethan doesn't know that, so Ethan is still going to be looking to get that established turn 1. And also, at some point, get a basic Pokemon.
Yeah, you'd hope so, right? So, another 7. Does Ethan finally find one here? I mean, it is a low basic count in the deck, so, you know, this does happen on occasion, but there it is. There's the Mew.
Yeah, and a Genesect there as well. Plenty to go. You know what I love, Freya? We're in a best of 3. We've got 30 minutes left for game 3. There's none of that both players rushing to try and get a resolution malarkey. Oh, no. Wait. 3 Genesect, our prize for Ethan.
Oh, my.
3 Genesect, our prize. This is game 3. Now, to be fair... Oh, wait. Oh, no. There's 2 Miraidon prized for Simon. For a second there, I looked at his deck list, but there's 2 different types. There's 1 Miraidon available for Simon, 1 Genesect available for Ethan. Just to be clear, that is not fair.
No, that's really not ideal.
Much worse for Ethan. We've been talking about this Fusion Strike system, and here's the thing. What are you going to do? Like, I mean, this is where Ethan's going to find out there's no more Genesect in the deck. Because what you really want to do is fill up your bench in order to maximize the draws you get from your single Fusion Strike system. But then if you do that, then you draw the Genesect and you can't play them down and get more Fusion Strike system.
So then, at this point, it's debatable. Do you force your sign for the Hisuian Heavy Ball instead, just so you can get a Genesect out?
Well, yes.
Well, it seems like even still going for the Battle VIP pass, you can get a couple of Mew out, so, you know, maybe your first Genesector draws a decent amount, and then you can find your way into the Hisuian Heavy Ball. And yeah, we can see the reaction on Amy's face. It's not a good situation to be in.
There's only one Hisuian Heavy Ball in the deck. There are 3 Genesect in the prizes. They are way too important. Look, even the better Genesect Mew player than me, let's be perfectly clear about this. You know, he's made it into the top 8, not me. I would have gone Hisuian Heavy Ball there. I know it's one fewer Pokemon, but but then again, here's the awkward thing. You've only got 1 Mew. So if you go for the Hisuian Heavy Ball for the Genesect and your only Mew gets knocked out, then you can't Mew next turn.
Yeah, which is obviously very rough. So here's the one.
You don't Hisuian Heavy Ball.
So there's the 1 Fusion Strike system, and then just a pass. Wow, that's rough.
I mean, I think that's a good way to put it. Like, as much as I was quite bullish on going for the Hisuian Heavy Ball, you would then leave you for the lone Mew. And my point is, it's really bad to not get an extra Genesect out. And it's really bad to leave 1 Mew there that could be KO'd on your opponent's first turn. Both of those are bad decisions, and you have to make one of them.
Yeah, it is you're in a tough spot if you do, and you're in a tough spot if you don't. So over to Simon's turn, there is a Nest Ball to start things off. Simon's hand is looking very, very strong. I mean, it was already decent to begin with, but then with the amount of cards that Simon drew, yeah, just even more so. Now, double Miraidon prize is a little bit awkward. That means that you can't do like a chain of tandem units, but there's still the 1 left, so can still do 1 tandem unit and start to set up the Mareeps, set up the Raikos, and sort of get himself nicely set up that way. Is there even an argument to not go for Squawkabilly? I mean, I'm not sure what else is in Simon's hand. There was a lot there resource-wise, but it seems like you recognize that your opponent's had a very awkward start, so maybe you don't want to give your opponent the chance to take an easy prize later on with a Squawkabilly.
Yeah, I still kind of like Squawkabilly, and the reason I like, and there's reasons for and against. The reason I kind of like Squawkabilly, my opponent's got 1 Genesect down, and I don't think they've got a very good hand, and I want to dig for Path to the Peak.
Yeah. So yeah, there is the hand there. So yeah, but some energy is a generator, boss's orders as well. I mean, if you wanted to, you could maybe try and go for a very aggressive, power up an attacker with a generator, and then try and knock out the 1 Genesect left.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the Path to the Peak is kind of like a little bit extra. Using boss's orders to KO the only Genesect, it's asking a lot, and it's not an option now that the Ultra Ball is coming down, discarding it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would be, well, frankly, a little bit mean, but yeah, that would be a very aggressive play. And that's a play that absolutely could have worked out. Okay, so we do see the Ultra Ball there. Decisions to be made. Actually eyeing up that Mew, bringing it to the front there.
Yeah, because, I mean, that gives you a little bit more utility, right? You have the research in hand already, so you have the means to refresh this hand specifically. And the Mew, later on in the game can just, maybe if your hand gets disrupted, you can top up your hand with that restart ability.
Yeah, and then it's still kind of a 2-prize liability, but it's going to be there for the whole game, whereas Squawkabilly is a 1-turn thing. And yeah, the hand is good. And if you've got a good hand and you don't need a huge amount of stuff, maybe having Mew there as a utility for the game is a better option in the end. I tend to just Squawkabilly all the time because I like seeing extra cards. It is not always the right play.
No, it's not. It's there when you need it, but not just because you have it doesn't mean you need to use it. And that's something very important to remember when it comes to these kinds of early game setup cards. So electric generator, finds 2 energy already.
Already, actually have 3 energy off of that. That's amazing. So we could see him a Rhydon KO this turn. And in terms of the maths, what we got, so you don't actually need the Miraidon. You can do it with a Raikou here. With 3 bench from Ethan, assuming Simon fills his bench, then that would be exactly 180 damage. So yeah, that would get the Mew.
Yeah, so that's absolutely what's going to happen here. And yeah, you got to assume that you can also put the Bravery Charm on the Raikou as well to make it extra harder for Ethan to take a knockout, especially given that one of the power tablets got burned just to draw more with the Genesect just now. Oh,
I think that's an absolutely fantastic play. Again, we know that it takes 2 of the power tablets to get the KO. Even with a Lost Vacuum, you still actually have to have 1 power tablet. So that works nicely. We do actually get do we get draw with Mew?
I mean, you can do, yeah. There's only 2 cards in hand, right? So you can do restart for 1.
It was touching the Mew, but then he changed his mind for a second. I think he's going to manually attach to the active Raikou and then draw 2 with the Mew, which I like very much indeed.
Yeah, there we go. Restart and drawing, Squawkabilly and Lightning Energy. But that's fine, right? You don't need Squawkabilly anymore. Just, yeah, discard it.
That's not bad at all. And Lightning Energy in the discard when you're going to have a Flappy next turn is actually wonderful. We got more energy there. Oh, and Simon, it looked so good for Ethan in game 1 and even for bits of game 2. Game 3 does not look like the first two. Simon is in a phenomenal position here, and there's nothing really Ethan can do about it at this stage. Simon's deck is just firing in a way that Ethan's isn't. Although, prizing free Genesect in game 3 of top 8 when you're on stream, that is a kind of thing you will be complaining to your friends about for a long time.
Yeah, and let's face it, that's a very valid complaint, right? You know,
absolutely.
It's one thing to, you know, lose it on the last turn of the game, think, oh, if I only had one more turn, I would have won. But no, when you start the game and you say, I've prized 3 of my Genesects, like, what are you meant to do?
My general theory of Pokemon is you shouldn't complain about luck, because the vast majority of the time, there's something you've done in your deck building or in your play which you could have used to turn that luck around. There are very few instances where I think a player genuinely just got really unlucky. This might be one of them.
Yeah. So, electric generator and then switch cards.
So we are switching into the Raikou here. Just getting it into the active. Of course, you will have another fleet-footed to use if you want to, and we do. And actually, the combination of Mew and Raikou has been drawing a fun, you know, pretty funky amount of cards here, which is pretty nice.
And the KO is already there ready as well, because as we mentioned, 5 on the bench, 3 on Ethan's side is 180. That's already enough for a KO on the Mew. Now, if you could take out the one with the energy, that would be amazing, of course, but not an option given that you already done your support for the turn. That boss orders is looking pretty for next turn, though.
Oh, it's looking very nice for next turn. And you know, if Ethan, well, you know that the free Genesect are prized. There is no way Ethan goes VIP pass for double Mew when you've already got a Mew out if you've got Genesect available. No way that happens. So Simon knows there's only one Genesect available. That was given away from the Battle VIP pass. You don't go free Mew, 1 Genesect to set up.
No, no.
So as long as you can not give up a prize this turn, you know you can boss the Genesect and completely cut Ethan off from draw in a way that Path to the Peak never could.
No, absolutely not. Now, I've got to say, Simon's hand after this KO isn't looking amazing. There's like no option to redraw cards. Like, it's giving you had the boss's orders, so then at least you can take some kind of KO. Oh, that's a Feather Ball. You can use that to find the Mew VMAX.
Already got a Mew VMAX.
Oh, you can find another one, or I guess you can find another Mew if you want to. Oh no, actually you can't, because there's already one's been KO'd, and then there's the other ones are already all down. So yeah, just find another Mew VMAX just to get out of the deck as another card to fin, and then yeah, give me Fusion Strike system for 3 cards.
I mean, filling your deck is really, really important when you're really not drawing very many. Giving yourself every little tiny fraction of a percentage chance of drawing what you need becomes absolutely huge. And remember, Mew is drawing until you've got 3 cards in your hand over on Simon's side of the board. Genesect's drawing until you've got 4. It's not much better than a Mew here. Can we draw ourselves out of it? There's a Cramomatic. That could be huge. There's a Power Tablet. If he hits heads on Cramomatic, he can get the Lost Vacuum or the Power Tablet and do it here. Or just boss his orders up the Raichu, and that KO is already on the board.
Well, you need to, right? You need to take prizes. You need to start getting the Genesects out. And luckily for Ethan, there's 1 Genesect, there's 2 Genesect.
I mean, that must be one of the most relieved feelings Ethan has ever had playing the Pokemon trading card game. Because next turn, like, Ethan is actually tied it up. Ethan is keeping up. And now he's going to have access to his Genesect. And I love what Ethan's done here, because there are 2 bench spaces available. Ethan has played this beautifully, hoping the Genesect are coming out, and they are.
Yeah, and also it's a very important draw for turn there. Simon actually drew into an Iono.
Oh, nice. Oh, I've just realized quite how good that is.
Exactly, like that was actually a key draw there, because before that, I mean, there wasn't that much going on in the hand. There was a boss's orders and, you know, a couple of energy and a Mareep. But now with this, maybe, you know, Simon's thinking, hold on, there's no Genesects coming down. Chances are maybe there's a few coming off the prizes. Maybe I should consider doing an Iono here.
Well, like I say, the Battle VIP pass gave away to Simon that they were all prized. So you know there's a decent chance Ethan got 1. So putting it to the bottom of their deck so they've got to search for it, they cannot draw into it. Oh, I like that play very much indeed.
Yeah.
So
it is a tough decision though, because you're running on speculation, right? You're kind of trying to think through like what actually happened here. Like if I play back the last few turns from Ethan's side, if I had like a bird's eye view as to what's going on with him, like how do I actually carry this forward? And interestingly enough, Simon went with the tandem unit, but opted not to get anything.
Maybe just looking at his deck, figuring out what's there, thinking he doesn't need anything. It really depends what you're going to be attacking with here. If you can attack with a, you know, Miraidon, or if you're going to go into the Genesect or Mew, I mean, there's already 7 bench Pokemon. So you're only actually hitting 160, though.
Oh, yeah, that's a bit rough. I mean, really agonizing of a decision here.
Oh, because you've got a flat Marip in hand you're about to play down. That's why.
Yeah, I guess so. But there was obviously a sort of a agony in Simon's mind about whether it's worth benching something else. Maybe thinking about that Raichu again. We saw that was the absolute, the clutch attacker to finish off, maybe even in game 2. So maybe thinking, do I really want to commit this bench slot to another Marip? But deciding to go for it, and yeah, now debate on whether to attach the energy, and maybe thinking about just a boss's orders, just a KO on the Mew. Yeah.
No, I don't mind this at all. Bringing up the Mew, getting yourself an extra couple of prizes, getting it down to. Oh, it's getting it down to only 2 prizes remaining and really making Ethan work to stay into this game. Let's be clear, right? Ethan got the Genesect off the prizes, and that's lovely, but it's still, hopefully next turn it can work out. Simon's deck is running hot now.
Yeah, it is, and Simon's running hot and being able to put himself in a very leading position without working with much in hand. I mean, he's going to thin out this hand now even more by attaching manually to this Miraidon, so got another attacker ready to go. It'd be interesting to see what he actually opts to attack with this turn. I would go for the restart, of course, as well, just to top up the hand a little bit more. There's a Forest Seal Stone. Oh, actually, that's a really, really big find. He's not fired it off yet, so you can just put that on a... Oh, wait, there's one on the Raikou already. Never mind.
It's all right. It's nice to see the KO coming in on the Mew. And, of course, we've seen that Psychic Leap used so many times in the past. You need a Mew V on the bench in order to be able to do it. Well, this is taking a Mew V off of the bench. This is going to be kind of awkward. It's taking one of those plays away from Ethan here. Simon is going to be 2-hit KO in a Mew V max. This makes it a lot easier for him.
Yeah, there's another Electric Generator fighting. Only 1 energy off that one this time, but still a very good pickup. Can just commit that to the Raikou V, have more attackers ready to go. And of course, the more energies you load up now, the easier time you'll have later in terms of being able to load up a Raichu V to take the last knockout to win.
I mean, as it stands at the moment, Simon needs boss next turn for the win. It really is as simple as that. He's got the KO here with the Raikou. He's got a Miraidon, which is literally just ready to attack as it stands at the moment. So there's no real issue here at all. It's a case of you KO the Mew, you're down to 2 prizes, you've got an attacker, literally boss's orders next turn will win the game.
But you want to keep your options open, right? Because,
absolutely.
Yeah, because boss's orders will win the game, but then if you can also have the option of building up a Raichu to win, then that's just another option for a win condition that you have. So you want to keep your options as open as you possibly can. As you see, yeah, even there, finally benching the 2 more Genesects, so going to be able to draw up to 5 now. There's a Forest Seal Stone in hand, of course, just going to play that just to use it, not really going to be able to fight it off when it's already been used this turn. There's a Choice Belt, an Ultra Ball, and another Judge. Really, this is the turn that Ethan wants to see Iono.
Yeah, and Iono here would be huge, putting Simon down to 2 cards in hand. We're not actually there with a KO yet because there is a Bravery Charm on the Raikou, so you will need 1 more modifier.
There's a Cramomatic. Oh, but it's a Tails!
That would have got the modifier, or indeed the Lost Vacuum, though. That's fine.
That is very, very big. Yeah, Hisuian Heavy Ball as well can get the last Genesect.
Oh, that is going to make a big difference in the drawing here. So we do see the Lost Vacuum coming down, getting that escape rope into the Lost Zone. There goes the Bravery Charm. So the KO is on the board for Ethan.
So you know how we were saying before, oh, Path to the Peak doesn't matter that much?
Yep.
This time it absolutely does matter because there is a Mew EX on Simon's board. So if Ethan can do an Iono plus Path to the Peak shot off the Mew, that will give him the best chance at disrupting Simon and stopping him from being able to find a boss or the energies and the Raichu for the win.
I agree, and of course we've still got the Beach Court and we've got the Raikou there as well, so that is 1 free draw as well after using something like a Mew that Simon is going to have access to. So the combination of Beach Court and Raikou, they're absolutely working. And oh, look, that Genesect is... Oh, it's on the bench now. Who could possibly have seen that coming? This is what the Mew deck is supposed to do.
It is, so absolutely phenomenal stuff. There's a Luxray, not really what you want here. You're going to be racing for prizes, so not going to be wanting to bench that. There's also a Cramomatic and a Switch, so this could be another chance to find the Path to the Peak. Or the Iono. Oh.
Yeah, the KO is on the board. That's easy. It's now Disruption. We see heads. Back to the Amy cam. Amy is delighted. We're all delighted if we're cheering for Ethan here. So we do see the heads, and you've called it, Freya. It is an Iono coming down, and this is wonderful.
Yeah, because what you can do here, you can go for the Iono, and then after that, you know, sort of put your cards to the bottom, draw more, and then find the Path to the Peak off of the Iono. So definitely more important to find that first.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's whatever's going to be most disruptive. If you think your opponent's got a terrible hand, you can go straight for the path to the peak. But path has no chance of finding you Iono. Iono does have a chance of finding you the path. So we do see it hitting the field here, or hitting the discard pile. And now, what does Simon get off these last two cards? A boss will guarantee the win, but honestly, enough energy on the board will do it.
Simon does not use his V-Star power yet, so actually even needs to find another lost vacuum to get rid of the Forest Sealstone on the Raikou as well.
Oh, yeah, that's game, frankly. If you don't get rid of the Forest Sealstone, you just forest, there's a grabber, there's Judge Path, which is a fun combination we see used quite a lot. But yeah, Simon is going to be able to go and grab that boss's orders. There's none in the prizes. There's, I think, 3 in the deck for Simon, so I'm fairly sure there's 1 that is going to be left available here. Grab it off the Forest Sealstone, attack with Miraidon. That will be the game. Ethan needs to find a way. Well, he needs to find a lost vacuum here. There's 3 in the deck.
So, and there's 1 been used to get rid of the Bravery Charm. So yeah, this is going to be a huge Genesect. It is Path to the Peak plus Lost Vacuum to stay in the game. 4, 5.
There's a grabber.
6.
There is a Path to the Peak. That's not going to do any good. And it is worth remembering here that Path to the Peak turns off abilities of the Pokemon, but that does not stop Forest Sealstone, because that is an ability that can be used by the Pokemon, not an ability of the Pokemon. That is a very important distinction.
Yes, it is.
This should be pretty simple here. It should just be use your V-Star power, go and grab a boss's orders, grab a Genesect off the bench, you free retreat the Mew into the Miraidon, and then you move on into top 4.
Does Simon not see it? Wait, how many bosses does Simon... Oh, wait, how many bosses does Simon play?
He plays 3.
He plays 3. Okay, so there's 1 left in the deck. Unless, I mean, I think I saw 2 in there, right?
There is a V-Star power coming down. Is there a boss's orders left in the deck? I think
sure there
is.
Yeah.
There is a boss's orders left in the deck. This is going to close it out. Ethan extends a hand, and Simon is moving forward to the top 4 of the Stuttgart Regional Championships. Turns out Miraidon is pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. A absolute phenomenal series, you know, back and forth in all those different games, and even that right there at the end, even with that horrendous start, almost able to pull it back, but just missing that key lost vacuum to stop the Forest Sealstone from being able to find the boss's orders to win.
And that was rough. Ethan needed so much on that last turn. You need to make sure that you've got your attacker set up to get the KO. You need to get rid of the Bravery Charm. You need to get rid of the Forest Sealstone. You need to make sure you play the Iono. You need to get the Path to the Peak down. We asked a lot, or the game asked a lot of Ethan in that last turn, and unfortunately just was not able to pull it all off. So close there for Ethan, but after a fairly nice game 1, just wasn't able to close it out in games 2 or 3.
No, absolutely.